The golden glow of sunset spills across the quiet neighborhood as Ethan Ross pulls into the lane in his old, dusty pickup truck. Another long day at work, and the same nightmare waiting for him. His neighbor's two giant SUVs are once again jammed into a single parking slot, blocking half his driveway. He leans out the window, sighs, and mutters, "Unbelievable." He inches forward, tires scraping the curb, his family stepping out with flashlights, trying to guide him in like an airplane landing crew. It's become their nightly ritual. A slow, frustrating dance of angles and patience. Ethan's tried everything. Emails, photos, formal complaints, all ignored. The HOA's response? Silence. And when he finally corners Mrs. Penelope Crane, the HOA officer, mid-40s, platinum blonde, bright pink pantsuit, clipboard always in hand, she flashes her rehearsed smile and says sweetly, "We'll look into it, Mr. Ross. Have patience." Weeks roll by. Same smile. Same excuse. Same problem. Ethan stands by his truck one evening, staring at those SUVs like an enemy fortress. His jaw tightens, voice low and steady. "If they won't fix it, I will." Late one night, the faint hum of a desk fan fills Ethan's garage. The place looks like a mad scientist's workshop. Blueprints spread across the workbench, toolboxes cracked open, half-assembled gadgets and coffee cups everywhere. His tired eyes flicker between drone parts, steel cables, and a small mechanical arm made from scrap metal. He mutters to himself, sketching furiously on a notepad. "If they can ignore the problem, I'll make it impossible to ignore." Ethan is an engineer, methodical, creative, and just unhinged enough to pull off something legendary. On one corner of the table sits a small crane model made from old bike parts and a car jack. He attaches a toy car to the hook, lifts it an inch off the ground, and grins. "That's it," he says quietly. "If they won't move the car, I will." Cut to a montage. Nights spent welding, coding, testing. Sparks fly, gears turn, metal clangs. His garage transforms into a secret lab of rebellion. He studies crane schematics on his laptop, orders steel cables online, and even rents a small construction yard to test balance and weight capacity. Meanwhile, his inbox pings with yet another email from Mrs. Penelope Crane, the ever-smiling HOA officer in her pink suit. "Mr. Ross, we've received reports of unauthorized mechanical activity in your garage. Please remove all industrial equipment immediately." He stares at the message, a smirk spreading across his face. "Unauthorized?" he whispers. "Oh, it's authorized. By my patience running out." The next day, neighbors notice strange deliveries, wooden crates labeled hydraulic components and mechanical assembly kit. When asked, Ethan just shrugs. "Just a little project," he says. At night, under the flicker of his garage light, he welds the final piece of his plan together, a remote-controlled rig capable of lifting a small car. He tests it by hoisting an old washing machine over the driveway. The machine sways dangerously before landing perfectly on target. Ethan bursts into laughter. "Perfect," he says. "Now imagine that." But with Karen's precious SUV, cut to Mrs. Crane peering through her window across the street. Suspicious. She jots notes on her clipboard, muttering, "Something's not right about that man." But Ethan doesn't care. Every clank of metal, every bolt tightened, brings him closer to poetic justice. He looks at the double-parked SUVs from his window one last time before shutting the garage door, whispering to himself like a man preparing for war. "Tomorrow, I repark the problem." It's 11:47 p.m. The street is quiet except for the faint buzz of a streetlight and the rhythmic chirping of crickets. Ethan stands in his driveway wearing safety goggles, gloves, and an old hoodie, staring up at his creation, a makeshift electric hoist rigged above the parking area. On the workbench beside him, a controller, some duct tape, and a blueprint scribbled with arrows and question marks. He whispers to himself, half crazed, half thrilled, "All right, let's give this baby a lift." The hoist hums to life, its motor whining. A thick cable unspools and hooks onto the bumper of the neighbor's shiny black SUV, the same one blocking his space every night. Ethan flips the switch. The hoist pulls. The SUV jerks up, maybe an inch. Then there's a loud clang. The cable whips free and smacks the pavement. "Ah, come on!" He groans. He tightens the cable, gives it another go. This time the motor sputters and smokes. Sparks fly. The drone camera he set up to film the operation suddenly loses control, spinning wildly before crash landing in the neighbor's hydrangeas. Then, as if on cue, the sprinkler system kicks in, soaking Ethan from head to toe. He stands there in the misty chaos, drenched, defeated, watching his half-broken rig dangle uselessly. Cut to morning. Birds chirp. The sun shines on the wreckage, a tangled cable, a bent hook, and a drone stuck in a bush. And here she comes, Mrs. Penelope Crane, the pink hurricane herself. Clipboard in hand, bright pink pantsuit gleaming like battle armor. She surveys the scene with narrowed eyes. "Mr. Ross," she begins, tapping her pen, "we've received reports of industrial activity on your property. That would constitute a—" Ethan interrupts, wiping grease from his face with a rag, trying not to laugh. "Just tuning my parking solution, ma'am." She stares at him deadpan. "A what?" He smiles wider. "A solution for the two-car problem." Mrs. Crane's face flushes red. She scribbles something angrily on her clipboard. "Violation unauthorized tools," before storming off down the sidewalk, muttering HOA codes under her breath like an exorcism spell. Across the street, two teenagers are already filming on their phones. One whispers, "Bro, he's building a robot to fight the HOA." By afternoon, word spreads. Neighbors peer through blinds, chuckling, exchanging whispers at mailboxes. The parking war has officially become the neighborhood's favorite reality show. And Ethan? He just smirks, standing in his garage doorway, sipping coffee. "Let them watch," he says quietly. "They haven't seen anything yet." It's a calm Saturday morning. Birds chirping. Sunlight spilling over the cul-de-sac. And then, a deep mechanical rumble shakes the street. Neighbors step out in slippers and robes, shielding their eyes. At the center of it all stands Ethan Ross, red plaid shirt rolled up at the sleeves, jeans tucked into work boots. Safety goggles perched on his forehead, looking like a man about to rewrite the rules of suburbia. Behind him, a massive yellow construction crane idles, its steel arm stretching high above the townhouses like a mechanical giant. The crane operator gives a thumbs up. Ethan returns it with a grin that says, "Today's the day." They attach heavy-duty straps around the shiny black SUV that's once again blocking his spot. The same SUV that started months of HOA hell. The hook tightens. The tension builds. Ethan checks the rigging, then nods to the operator. The engine roars. Chains rattle. The SUV lifts off the ground. Gasps echo up and down the block. A kid screams, "He's actually doing it!" Phones are out everywhere, neighbors filming, cheering. The car rises higher, 10 feet, 20 feet, then clearing the rooftops. It sways slightly in the morning wind, sunlight glinting off the chrome bumper, and right on cue, from her house 2 doors down, Mrs. Penelope Crane bursts out, heels clicking furiously on the pavement, pink pantsuit blazing like a neon warning sign. Her face is pure disbelief. She shouts, voice trembling with rage, "You can't do that! That's HOA property airspace!" Ethan doesn't even look fazed. He calmly flips open a laminated HOA rule book, pointing at a highlighted clause with his gloved finger. Actually, Penelope, Clause 7B. Vertical boundaries extend only 5 feet above assigned property lines. The crowd erupts in laughter. Ethan turns back toward the crane, signaling the operator with 2 fingers. "Let's finish the job." The SUV slowly swings over the roofline, a cinematic moment of pure, ridiculous triumph. Mrs. Crane is screaming now, waving her clipboard like a sword, and then, the inevitable. The car lowers directly above the neighbor's backyard, right over a pristine, blue-tiled swimming pool. Ethan smirks. "Reparking completed." The operator releases the hook. "K, splash!" A massive wave of pool water bursts into the air, drenching the patio furniture and knocking over a flamingo float. The crowd gasps, then bursts into uncontrollable laughter. Phones record from every angle. Someone yells, "Finally! Justice!" Mrs. Crane freezes in disbelief, her clipboard slipping from her hand and falling in slow motion to the pavement. Ethan turns toward the stunned onlookers, a drop of water splashing onto his goggles. He grins and says quietly, almost to himself, "Now that's what I call parking enforcement." The camera pans wide, drone style, showing the whole chaotic scene. The crane, the laughing neighbors, the pink-suited HOA officer fuming, and a black SUV slowly sinking in a sparkling blue pool. The next morning, the neighborhood group chat is exploding. Clips of Ethan's crane stunt are everywhere. Facebook, TikTok, even local news teaser reels. The thumbnail shows a black SUV mid-air over the pool, with the caption, "HOA ignored my parking complaints, so I used my mind." Cut to the HOA boardroom, fluorescent lights buzzing, half the members looking terrified. Mrs. Penelope Crane sits at the head of the table, pink suit freshly ironed, hair pinned tighter than ever, clutching a thick binder labeled Disciplinary Action, Ethan Ross. Her voice trembles with rage as she speaks. "This man made a mockery of our community. He violated multiple codes, 14B, 22C, and 31D. She slaps a printed photo on the table, the viral still of the SUV dangling over the pool. A board member clears his throat nervously. Penelope. That video has 8 million views," another adds quietly, "and technically he didn't break any written rule." She glares at them, fuming. "Are you seriously suggesting we let this circus act slide?" Meanwhile, outside the meeting, Ethan stands in the parking lot. Same red flannel shirt, holding his phone on a small tripod. He's live streaming the HOA hearing itself. "Morning, everyone," he says into the camera. "Let's see how creativity fares against bureaucracy." Thousands of viewers flood the chat. "This man is a legend. He parked that car better than the owner ever did." HOA Karen has entered meltdown mode. Inside, Mrs. Crane's assistant bursts in holding a tablet. The local news wants an interview." "They're calling it the Crane incident." Penelope's face goes pale. "The what?" Cut to a news anchor on TV. Viral footage from a suburban neighborhood shows a homeowner lifting a car into a swimming pool using a crane. All to protest HOA negligence. Sources say the HOA ignored months of complaints before the creative reparking operation took place. Back in the meeting, the HOA president, an older man in a navy blazer, sighs deeply. He looks at Penelope and says flatly, "We respect innovative problem-solving. Mr. Ross." Ethan smirks, watching from his phone. As the live stream chat goes wild, Mrs. Crane's hands shake as she shuffles through her paperwork, realizing she's lost control. Her bright pink blazer catches the light, like a warning flare in a sea of defeat. Someone whispers, "She's trending, you know." "Crane vs. Crane." Her face turns crimson. The board members exchange glances, trying not to laugh. Cut to Ethan outside, ending the live stream. "Well," he says with a grin, "I guess sometimes you don't need to fight the system. Just lift it a little higher." He pockets his phone and walks off, as the faint echo of Mrs. Crane's frustrated yelling carries through the HOA office walls. Weeks roll by, and the chaos that once ruled the neighborhood fades into an eerie calm. The street looks normal again. Driveways clear, no honking, no shouting matches, no HOA letters taped to doors. Ethan Ross sits on his porch one quiet morning, sipping coffee, wearing his familiar red flannel and jeans. Across the lane, the neighbor finally parks properly. 2 cars, 2 slots, perfectly lined up. It's almost poetic. The camera drifts to Mrs. Penelope Crane walking down the sidewalk, clipboard clutched tightly against her chest, still dressed in her iconic bright pink pantsuit. She slows as she passes Ethan's house, eyes forward, pretending not to see him, but Ethan doesn't let her escape unnoticed. He lifts a hand and waves casually, a grin spreading across his face. Behind him, a brand new lawn sign stands proudly near the mailbox. Clean metal letters glinting in the sun. Engineered Parking Solutions. Mind over HOA. Mrs. Crane's jaw tightens. She adjusts her sunglasses and speeds up her walk, heels clicking faster against the pavement. Ethan chuckles softly. Guess she's had enough vertical parking for one lifetime. The camera slowly pans upward, past the rooftops and into the neighbor's backyard, where the once famous SUV still sits at the bottom of the pool, half sunk, algae-covered, a quiet monument to one man's victory over stubborn bureaucracy. A light breeze ripples the water's surface, the reflection of the sky glimmering above the submerged car. Birds chirp. The neighborhood, finally, is at peace. Voiceover, calm and thoughtful, fades in. Sometimes the only way to park your peace is to lift your limits. Soft background music swells, the kind that signals closure after chaos. The camera pans higher, catching the neighborhood bathed in warm sunlight. Peaceful, yet forever marked by one unforgettable act of genius.